Family tried to turn my architecture office into wedding planning HQ. Now my sister and I run a business together. Hi everyone. Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. Original post. I never thought I'd be writing this, but I need perspective on whether I'm being unreasonable about a family situation that's spiraling out of control. I'm a 26-year-old architect working for a mid-sized firm during regular business hours, but my real passion, and increasingly, my primary source of financial security, comes from my freelance residential design work that I conduct from my meticulously organized home office. My younger sister, 22, has been working as a barista at a local coffee shop for the past 2 years since dropping out of college. She's getting married in 8 months to her boyfriend of 3 years, and last week, my parents called what they termed a family meeting that has left me questioning everything I thought I knew about boundaries, family obligations, and professional respect. The meeting started innocently enough with everyone gathered in my parents' living room. My sister announced with great fanfare that she'd finally found her dream venue, a restored barn about 2 hours outside the city. She pulled out her phone to show us pictures, gushing about the exposed beams, the romantic lighting possibilities, and how it was everything she'd ever dreamed of. She'd already picked her colors, dusty rose and sage green, selected her bridal party, 7 bridesmaids, and was ready to dive headfirst into what she called the planning journey of a lifetime. Then came the bombshell that left me speechless. My mother stood up, clapped her hands together like she was about to announce winning the lottery, and informed me, not asked, not suggested, but informed me, that I would be converting my home office into my sister's wedding planning headquarters for the next 8 months. She said it with such conviction, such assumption of compliance, that for a moment I thought I'd misheard. Their reasoning, as my father eagerly explained, was simple. You can work from anywhere with a laptop, modern technology makes it so easy, and family comes first, always. They completely dismissed, or perhaps never understood, the fact that my office houses my professional drafting table, a $3,000 investment, dual 32-inch monitors for CAD work, an extensive material samples library that I've built over 5 years, a 3D printer specifically for architectural models, a large format plotter for printing blueprints, and a carefully curated client presentation area with architectural books, awards, and project portfolios. This isn't just a desk pushed against a wall. It's a professional workspace that took me 3 years and countless hours to build, optimize, and organize. Every element has been deliberately chosen and positioned. The lighting alone took weeks to perfect for both computer work and detailed hand drafting. The room has acoustic panels I installed to ensure quality during video calls with clients. There's a dedicated ventilation system for when I'm working with model-making materials. When I try to explain that I have clients who specifically come to my home office for consultations, that the personal touch of meeting in my professional yet comfortable space has been a key differentiator in winning projects, they acted like I was making excuses. I currently have 4 residential projects in various stages, worth approximately $40,000 in design fees over the next 6 months, with 2 more proposals pending that could add another $20,000. My sister actually laughed, and said, "It's just drawing on a computer, you can do that at a coffee shop." I should know, I see people on laptops all day. The irony of a barista telling me to work from a coffee shop wasn't lost on me, but when I pointed out that I couldn't exactly bring my drafting table and material samples to her workplace, she rolled her eyes and called me dramatic. My mother's response was even more hurtful. "We supported you through 5 years of architecture school, paid for your housing, helped with your expenses, and this is how you repay us? By not supporting your sister's once-in-a-lifetime event? We're not asking you to give up your room, just to share your workspace for a few months." She conveniently forgot that I'd paid them back every penny with interest once I started working, something we'd agreed on to help them with their retirement savings. My father, usually the more reasonable one, delivered the final blow with breathtaking dismissiveness. "Your little side projects can wait. This is about family. Your sister needs this space to spread out, to visualize, to create her dream day. You're being selfish thinking about money when this is about love and family unity." Those little side projects have paid off my $45,000 in student loans 2 years early, allowed me to contribute $15,000 to my parents' anniversary cruise last year, and are funding my goal of starting my own firm within the next 3 years. I've already saved $60,000 toward that goal, all from these little side projects that apparently mean nothing compared to having a dedicated space for wedding magazines, fabric swatches, venue brochures, and what my sister described as her inspiration boards. The meeting ended with me saying I needed time to think, which they took as agreement. My sister actually hugged me and started talking about how we could make it work, with her stuff and mine sharing the space, completely missing my stunned silence as a sign of anything but enthusiasm. Update 1, 2 weeks later. The situation has taken several unexpected turns since my original post, and I wanted to thank everyone who commented with their perspectives. Your validation that my professional space and work deserve respect, regardless of where they're located, gave me the courage to stand firm even when the family pressure intensified to an almost unbearable degree. After my initial refusal to give up my office, delivered via a carefully worded family group text that explained I couldn't accommodate the request due to professional obligations, things got increasingly tense. My sister posted in our extended family group chat, the one with aunts, uncles, and cousins, about how I was sabotaging her happiness and choosing money over family. She actually created an Instagram story series called Wedding Planning Struggles, where she passive-aggressively documented having to use my parents' dining room table, because some people don't understand sacrifice. My parents started their cold shoulder treatment, a tactic they'd perfected during my teenage years. They'd respond to my texts with one-word answers, excluded me from Sunday dinner, a 20-year tradition, and my mother told my aunt that she was disappointed in how materialistic I'd become. The family pressure was so intense that I genuinely began to doubt myself, wondering if I was being unreasonable, if maybe I could somehow make it work. Everything changed during a Thursday afternoon at the office. My business partner at the firm, someone I respect immensely who's been in the industry for 30 years, noticed I seemed distracted during a major project review for a multi-million-dollar residential complex we're designing. I'd made 2 unusual errors in my calculations and seemed, in his words, mentally absent. After the meeting, he asked me to stay behind. "What's going on? This isn't like you. You're one of our most detail-oriented architects, and today you missed something a first-year intern would catch." I reluctantly explained the situation, expecting him to think it was trivial family drama that I shouldn't let affect my work. Instead, his response completely reframed my perspective. He leaned back in his chair, took off his glasses, and stared at me with genuine bewilderment. "Let me get this straight," he said slowly, as if trying to process something incomprehensible. "Your family wants you to dismantle a professional workspace that generates significant income, houses thousands of dollars in equipment, and serves actual clients, so your sister can have a glorified Pinterest boardroom? And they think this is reasonable because, why exactly?" When I couldn't give him a logical answer beyond family obligations, he continued with increasing passion, "I've watched you build your freelance practice from nothing. You're talented, dedicated, and more professional than architects with twice your experience. The fact that you work from home doesn't make your work less valuable. If anything, you've managed to create something impressive while managing overhead costs brilliantly. Do you know how many architects would kill for a functional home office that actually attracts clients?" He then made an offer that genuinely floored me. "If you need it, you can use our conference room after hours for client meetings. Hell, I'll give you a key to the building. But honestly, you shouldn't have to. Your home office is part of your business infrastructure. Would they ask a dentist to turn their practice into a wedding planning space? Would they tell a chef to convert their test kitchen into a craft room?" That analogy hit hard. He was absolutely right. Just because my profession doesn't require a traditional storefront doesn't mean my workspace isn't essential to my business operations. He even offered to write a formal letter on company letterhead to my family, explaining the professional implications of disrupting an architect's workspace, including potential liability issues with client confidentiality and project security. I declined, feeling I needed to handle this myself, but I deeply appreciated the offer. He added one more thing that stuck with me. "You know what your real problem is? You've been too successful too quietly. Your family has no idea what you actually do because you've made it look easy. Maybe it's time to show them." Armed with this perspective and renewed confidence, I scheduled another conversation with my family, this time at my place, specifically in my office. I insisted they come to me, to see the space they were so casually dismissing. I spent the morning preparing a presentation. Yes, an actual presentation, with slides, financial projections, and visual aids. When they arrived, clearly annoyed at being summoned, I walked them through everything. The $40,000 in projected freelance income over the next 6 months, broken down by project. The 3 clients who specifically chose me because I could meet at my home office, which they found more personal and comfortable than a corporate setting. The reality that dismantling and rebuilding my workspace would take at least 3 weeks of lost productivity, costing me approximately $7,500 in billable hours. I showed them the architectural awards on my wall, the thank you letters from clients whose homes I'd transformed, the before and after photos of spaces I'd reimagined. I demonstrated my 3D modeling software, showed them a client presentation I was working on, and explained how each piece of equipment was essential to my work. My sister's response after all of this? "Can't you just make an exception for family? It's only 8 months." The entitlement was staggering, but what hurt more was my parents' nodding agreement with her statement. Update 2, 1 month later. The family dynamics have shifted dramatically since my last update, though not without significant drama and unexpected revelations that have fundamentally changed how I view my relationships with my parents and sister. After I held firm on keeping my office, my parents escalated their campaign in ways that would have been comedic if they weren't so frustrating. They started showing up unannounced, always with my sister in tow, trying to guilt me in person. They'd arrive with coffee and pastries, my favorites obviously, acting like they were just dropping by, then inevitably steering the conversation toward the wedding and how difficult everything was without a proper planning space. The turning point came on a Tuesday afternoon when I was in the middle of a crucial video client presentation. It was a high-stakes meeting with a couple who were considering me for a $100,000 home renovation project, my largest potential contract to date. They could afford any architect in the city but were interested in my approach to blending modern amenities with classical architectural elements. My mother and sister could see me through the glass door of my office. I'd installed it specifically to let in natural light while maintaining sound privacy. They watched as I presented detailed 3D renderings, discussed structural modifications using my physical models, manipulated lighting simulations in real time, and pulled out material samples to show how different textures would interact. The clients were engaged, asking questions, clearly impressed with the comprehensive nature of my presentation. What my family didn't know was that my clients could see them hovering outside. The wife actually asked, "Is everything okay? Do you need to handle something?" I professionally explained they were family members who'd stopped by unexpectedly and would wait until we finished. The husband laughed and said, "Your family must be proud, watching you work like this. Our last architect just sent us PDFs." The meeting ended with a verbal commitment to move forward and a request for a formal proposal. As the clients were leaving, the wife stopped to talk to my mother and sister, who were still lingering in my living room. "Your son has such a gift," she told my mother. "The way he's reimagined our space while respecting the home's historical character, it's artwork. We've met with 5 architects, and he's the only one who truly listened to what we wanted. You must be incredibly proud." My mother's face went through several emotions: surprise, confusion, something that looked like shame, and finally, a dawning understanding. She mumbled something appropriate, but I could see the wheels turning in her head. That evening, she called and said something that shocked me: "I watched you work today. Really watched. I didn't understand what you actually do. I thought it was just computer stuff. Drawing lines and shapes. I didn't realize you were creating homes, creating the spaces where people will live their lives." Meanwhile, my sister had started using my parents' dining room as her planning space, and the reality of what she'd been asking for became abundantly clear. Within 2 weeks, she had completely taken over not just the dining room but had spread into the living room, kitchen, and even the hallway. There were fabric samples on every surface, magazines stacked on the floor, 3 different bulletin boards propped against walls, and what she called her vision station, a massive collage that had overtaken an entire wall. My parents, who had been so eager to volunteer my space, were now dealing with the chaos themselves. They couldn't have a meal without clearing wedding paraphernalia. They found glitter in their food from the DIY invitation samples. The printer ran constantly, churning out inspiration photos and vendor contracts. My father called me after 3 weeks of this, and he sounded exhausted. "She has 17 binders. 17. And something called a vision board that's taken over 2 walls now. There are fabric samples in my recliner, magazine clippings in the kitchen drawers, and I found tool samples in the garage. How were you supposed to work with all this?" "I wasn't," I replied simply. "That's what I tried to explain. This isn't a hobby that can share space with a profession. Both need dedicated areas." The real shift in my relationship with my sister came when she asked me to review the venue layout for table arrangements. She was struggling with the irregular shape of the barn and couldn't figure out how to arrange 150 guests in a way that felt both intimate and practical. The venue coordinator had given her a basic template, but it wasn't working with her vision. I spent 2 hours with her, applying actual spatial design principles to maximize the space and flow. I showed her how to account for traffic patterns, sight lines to the head table, accessibility requirements, and service pathways for catering staff. I created a quick CAD drawing that transformed her chaotic sticky note system into a clear, professional floor plan. She was amazed, watching me work through the problems she'd been struggling with for weeks in a matter of minutes. "This is what you do all day?" she asked, looking at my detailed drawings with newfound respect. "This is a tiny fraction of what I do all day," I replied, not unkindly. "This is maybe 2% of the complexity of a typical residential project." She was quiet for a long moment, studying the plans. Then she asked something that surprised me: "Could you help me design the ceremony space too? The coordinator just has everyone in straight rows, but I want something more special. I'll pay your consulting rate." I agreed to help her pro bono. She is my sister, after all, but I made it clear this would be scheduled around my paying clients and would happen in my office, at my drafting table, using my tools. She would come to my professional space, respect my working hours, and understand that paying clients took priority. The first time she came for a formal consultation, she dressed professionally, arrived on time, and brought an organized folder of her requirements. It was like meeting a different person, one who finally understood that what I did was actual work, not expensive doodling. Update 3, 3 months later. The transformation in family dynamics has been nothing short of remarkable, and I wanted to share this update because it demonstrates how standing firm on boundaries can actually strengthen relationships rather than destroy them, though the path to get here was neither straight nor simple. My sister has become one of my biggest advocates and most surprising allies. After I helped her with the venue design, word spread through her extensive network of 20-something friends about the architect brother who had transformed her wedding space from a basic barn setup into what she now calls architectural poetry. She started referring her engaged friends to me for consultations, always being incredibly clear about my rates, professional standards, and the need to book appointments well in advance. But the real breakthrough came during an unexpected moment last month. She was at my place for our weekly wedding planning session. Yes, we formalized it into a scheduled weekly meeting, and we were reviewing the final ceremony layout when one of my regular clients arrived early for their appointment. It was the couple from the video call my family had witnessed, returning for their third consultation. My sister asked if she could observe, and with my client's permission, she sat quietly in the corner while I walked them through the complete home renovation plan. For 2 hours, she watched me present detailed 3D models, material samples, structural drawings, lighting analyses, HVAC considerations, plumbing reconfigurations, and a comprehensive budget breakdown with multiple contingency scenarios. She saw me handle their concerns, adjust designs in real time based on their feedback, and navigate the delicate balance between their vision and structural reality. The meeting resulted in a signed contract for $15,000 for the design phase alone, with construction oversight to follow at an additional fee. As my clients left, effusively thanking me and excitedly discussing their transformed future home, my sister sat in stunned silence. Finally, she spoke, and her words were heavy with realization. "I almost cost you this, didn't I? This room, these tools, this whole setup, I wanted to turn it into a craft station for wedding favors. I was going to put a hot glue gun where your 3D printer is. I was going to cover your drafting table with ribbon and fake flowers." The guilt in her voice was palpable, but I saw it as a teaching moment rather than an opportunity for recrimination. "You didn't understand what you were asking," I said. "How could you? We live in different professional worlds. And honestly, our parents set us both up for this conflict by not recognizing or respecting what I do. They still see me as their kid playing with expensive toys, not as a professional running a business." She nodded, then surprised me with an observation that showed real growth. "You know what I realize now? I've been working as a barista for 2 years, and everyone respects that as real work because they can see it, taste it, hold the coffee cup. Your work is harder to understand because it's intellectual, it's creative, it's months of planning before anything physical exists. But that doesn't make it less real." Then she proposed something that caught me completely off guard. "I've been thinking. I'm good with people, right? Like, really good. And you're amazing at design but hate the networking stuff. I've watched you literally hide when neighbors try to make small talk. What if we did something together? I could handle client relations, initial consultations, follow-ups, all the people stuff you hate, and you could focus purely on the design work." It was an interesting proposition that I hadn't seen coming. My sister, through her barista job, had developed exceptional people skills. She knew half the young professionals in our city by name, remembered their drink orders, their life stories, their dreams of homeownership. She understood customer service in ways I never would, the art of making people feel heard, valued, special. We started with a trial run. She brought me 3 clients from her coffee shop network who needed design consultations for their first homes. These were young professionals who trusted her recommendation implicitly. I paid her a finder's fee initially, but we quickly realized we could create something more structured and potentially significant. Update 4, 6 months later, post-wedding. I'm writing this final update from my home office. Yes, the same one that almost became Wedding Planning Central. The space that was nearly sacrificed for 8 months of wedding chaos has instead become the birthplace of something neither my sister nor I could have anticipated. The wedding last month was genuinely beautiful. The ceremony space I designed created an intimate amphitheater effect within the barn, with guests seated in a gentle arc that made everyone feel connected to the moment. The reception flow I'd planned prevented the typical bottlenecks at the bar and buffet. Multiple guests commented on how it was the most thoughtfully arranged wedding they'd attended. Several asked for my card, which my sister proudly provided. But the real story here is what's happened professionally since my sister and I started working together. We've officially launched a side venture we're calling First Space Designs, specifically targeting young professionals buying their first homes. The business model works because she inherently understands our target demographic. She serves them coffee every day, Hears about their home purchases, their anxieties about renovation costs, their desires to make cookie-cutter spaces their own, their frustration with architects who don't listen or contractors who oversell. Her genius lies in translation. She can sit with anxious first-time homeowners, understand their inarticulate dreams. I want it to feel like that coffee shop in Portland, but also like my grandmother's house but modern, and translate that into actionable design briefs for me. She handles all initial consultations, helps clients establish realistic budgets, manages scheduling, and conducts follow-ups. She's even created a brilliant intake system that helps clients articulate their needs through lifestyle questions rather than design terminology. For my part, I can focus entirely on what I do best, the actual design work. Without the pressure of client management, I'm more creative, more productive, and honestly, happier. I'm producing better work because I'm not exhausting myself with the aspects of the business that drain me. The numbers tell the story. In 3 months, we've completed 12 consultations, resulting in 8 full design contracts. My sister's commission from our side business has exceeded her barista income by 150%. She's not quitting her day job yet. The coffee shop is still our primary networking hub, but she's reduced her hours to accommodate our growing client base. Last week, she sent me a text that brought everything full circle, just calculated our Q2 projections. If we maintain this pace, my annual commission from First Space will be more than I make as a full-time barista. Thank you for protecting your office. If you'd given it to me for wedding planning, we'd both have lost out on this opportunity. Your boundaries created our business. My parents have undergone their own transformation. My father recently introduced me to a colleague as my son, the architect with his own practice and a growing design firm. My mother has become our unofficial marketing department, telling everyone about both my freelance work and our sibling venture. She's even started understanding the nuances of what I do. She recently corrected someone who called me a builder, explaining the difference between architecture and construction. The most meaningful moment came when my sister and her new husband asked me to design their first apartment. They're moving from their current cramped rental to a larger space that needs significant work. She insisted on paying full price, saying it was important to her to respect my professional worth and set the right example for our other clients. During our initial consultation, conducted with the same professionalism we'd show any client, she said something that encapsulated our entire journey. I used to think family meant giving everything up for each other, that sacrifice was the ultimate expression of love. Now I realize it means respecting each other enough to maintain boundaries. Your office isn't just a room, it's the foundation of your career and now, our business. I'm sorry it took me so long to see that. I'm sorry I almost destroyed something so important because I thought my wedding was more important than your life's work. Her husband, who had been fairly quiet during the whole conflict, added his own perspective. Watching you two work together now, it's clear this conflict needed to happen. You both had to recognize each other as professionals, not just as siblings frozen in childhood roles. Final reflection, 8 months later. Looking back on this entire experience, from that initial family meeting where my professional space was casually offered up for wedding planning to where we are now, I'm struck by how much we've all grown and what we've learned about respect, boundaries, and the unexpected opportunities that can arise from standing your ground. Had I given in to the initial pressure, the losses would have been multiple and lasting. Not just the $40,000 in immediate freelance income that I projected, but the momentum of my practice, the trust of clients who rely on my professional space, and the foundation for what's becoming a thriving partnership with my sister. The office they wanted to dismantle for 8 months is now where we hold our weekly business meetings, where she's learned to read architectural plans and understand construction terminology, and where we're building something neither of us could have imagined. The wedding planning headquarters they envisioned would have been temporary. 8 months of chaos followed by a return to status quo. Instead, by maintaining my boundaries, we've created something permanent and growing. My sister often jokes that she went from making lattes to making deals, but the truth is she always had these skills, the ability to read people, to make connections, to build trust. She just needed the right opportunity to apply them professionally. Our business model has evolved from those first tentative referrals. We now offer package deals for first-time homeowners that include initial consultation, design development, and even coordination with contractors. My sister has become brilliant at vetting contractors and managing timelines. We've developed a reputation for being approachable, affordable, and actually listening to what young homeowners want rather than imposing our vision on them. My parents now understand that supporting your children doesn't mean enabling one at the expense of another. It means recognizing and respecting each child's path, professional choices, and boundaries. They've become genuine advocates for both of us. Family dinners now include discussions about our business ventures, market trends, and growth strategies rather than guilt trips about family obligations. The home office that was almost sacrificed remains exactly what it was meant to be, a professional space where I create, design, and build my career. But it's also become something more, a symbol of standing firm in your worth, a meeting place for an unexpected partnership, and proof that maintaining boundaries doesn't mean building walls between family members. Sometimes, it means creating the structure within which healthier, more respectful relationships can grow. My relationship with my sister has transformed from one based on childhood dynamics and parental expectations to one built on mutual respect and professional admiration. We still have sibling moments. She still teases me about my inability to make small talk, and I still roll my eyes at her addiction to reality TV, but there's an underlying respect that wasn't there before. For anyone facing similar pressure to sacrifice their professional space or dreams for family obligations, remember this: respecting yourself and your work isn't selfish. It's essential. The family members pushing hardest against your boundaries might be the ones who benefit most when you maintain them. My sister would never have discovered her talent for design consultation if she'd been able to take over my office for wedding planning. We would never have built our business if I'd caved to family pressure. The sign my sister gave me for my birthday now hangs on my office door: architecture in progress, dreams under construction. Below it, in smaller letters, she added, "Thanks for not letting me tear this down." Every time I see it, I'm reminded that protecting what you've built isn't just about preserving the past. It's about maintaining the foundation for an even better future. The office stands as it always has, but now it represents more than just my career. It's become the cornerstone of a family business, a testament to professional boundaries, and proof that saying no to the wrong request can lead to saying yes to opportunities you never saw coming.